There is tangible material and even subconscious triggers and influences that are telling us there's a red flag here, or there is something that I should have paused to investigate. I don't know if these work, and they are super nerdy. I don't think they're gonna work.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 3, 1, 3, 2, 1.
Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. If you've never watched any of my videos before, nice to meet you. And also just know that this video is the second in a series. So unless you are just here to see my wonderful guest, which I wouldn't blame you, I would recommend going back and watching part 1, and I will link it here and down below. So I'm Michelle Carpenter, and on my channel I use my personal experience and research to educate on the myths, mendacity, and manipulation tactics used by multi-level marketing distributors trying to recruit vulnerable people into what, in my opinion, are pyramid schemes. If you are a fan of this type of anti-scam, consumer education-centered content, please like this video, as this really helps me to know what kind of content y'all enjoy seeing from me. And if you aren't already, please feel free to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell if you'd like to be notified when I upload new videos. Okay, so before we get into today's video, let's get a quick disclaimer out of the way. As always, everything in this episode is the opinion of myself and my guests, informed by personal experience in the multi-level marketing industry and a lot of independent research. Any references made to anyone currently in the MLM industry should be taken as criticisms of their behaviors and the behaviors that they promote in other people, not of them as a person. Okay, so to remind you, if you're coming back after watching part 1 a while ago, in that video I broke down a few of the official definitions out there for the term cognitive dissonance, and I gave a high-level overview of a few experts' theories surrounding it. According to Dr. Leon Festinger, who coined the term cognitive dissonance in the 1950s, a person's identity is made up of their feelings, thoughts, and their behaviors or actions. And cognitive dissonance describes the discomfort that occurs when one of these conflicts with the other two. In this video, I wanted to invite a guest on to chat with me about cognitive dissonance and how we've seen it present inside and outside of multi-level marketing. And I could think of literally no one better. Hopefully most of you already know my friend Jenni Wild from her hilarious and educational anti-MLM TikTok videos. I won't make you wait any longer, so please get comfy and turn down the volume if shrill giggles are not your thing, and here we go. Okay, editing Michelle, obviously. I just wanted to pop in and add something real quick. So I've personally been trying to use the words crazy and insane less, or wipe them from my vocabulary completely as kind of slang words, because calling things crazy or insane perpetuates stigma around those things. Perpetuating those stigmas can make it more difficult for people to seek treatment for mental health, and also it can be triggering for people who do have mental health issues. So as an educational content creator, I'm trying to get away from using that. And I just wanted to address and recognize the fact that I use that word in this video quite a lot, sort of flippantly. And I wanted to kind of apologize for that and put a disclaimer on here. If that bothers you, please know that I'm aware that it's kind of a problematic use for the word crazy or insane. It just kind of got away from me, and I'm working on it. All right, that's it. Back to the video.
You know, you definitely had like really great things to say after you watched my video, that were, you know, very insightful, connecting the dots between this psychology conversation, right, about cognitive dissonance and how it fits into what we've done in our MLMs and really how everyone approaches the world in a way. So I really wanted to have you as my first guest. So we're going to chat about cognitive dissonance. I do not have any specific questions that I'm going to ask or anything like that. Maybe I'll have to come up with some kind of prompt and get us going, but I know that we can chat for hours. So
Yeah.
If you wouldn't mind, can you please introduce yourself?
Well, thank you for having me. This is so fun, always. I'm Jenni Wild, and I think my handle might be somewhere here on the live stream or on the recording. I'm at the Jenni with an I, Wild, W-I-L-D, at TikTok and on Instagram. And those are the two platforms where I speak on. The past 18 months, I've spoken up frequently about MLMs, multi-level marketing. And much like Michelle, I am against the business model as it is structured today, as it presents itself today, and how it's been functioning for the last, 100 years. So we won't get into all that. I know cognitive dissonance, today's conversation, is an important, very, very important piece for people to be aware of, whether you're in a multi-level marketing company, whether you're in any other group or collective or community or movement, you're an advocate, you're an activist, you're an employee somewhere, it doesn't matter. If you're a member to any institution,
even a relationship, right?
Relationships, informal or formal, we get to a point where we either are trending towards cognitive bias. We want to believe something is real and tangible, material, it's true, it has integrity, it has everything that aligns with our values and morals. So we will seek out the things that will keep reinforcing those thoughts and those instincts for ourselves. Other flip side is the cognitive dissonance, when we might strive for one goal, but over here, there is tangible, material, and even subconscious triggers and influences that are telling us there's a red flag here, or there is something that I should have paused to investigate. And my intuition is speaking to me. And so the cognitive dissonance is something that needs to be investigated. If you're in self-awareness, certainly in a multi-level marketing company where they want to control narratives, they want to control behavior and information and thought and emotions amongst their best customers, their reps, their sales force, to keep that recruiting coming and to keep people engaged and buying. That's what we're talking about today. What is the cognitive dissonance and how does it manifest and how can we recognize it?
Yeah, I loved doing the research leading up to the video that I made. There were so many different tangents, I guess, I could have gone on based on what I read, even just from reading Dr. Stephen Hassan's analysis of undue influence in NXIVM. I mean, that was the first thing I read because it's on his website, freedomofmind.com. Mm-hmm. He connected so many dots to cognitive dissonance, and then he also went into the history of the terminology, which I didn't know. There's so much that I didn't know, such as the fact that we're already fighting cognitive dissonance before we recognize that it's there. Mm-hmm. Our subconscious is trying to put out that fire, mm-hmm. but it may be doing it in a way that serves cognitive bias more, like what you were saying, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So of course, I mean, it's your video kind of just gave me these little light bulb moments where I thought, I can think of specific examples when I was in multi-level marketing, very heavily applying effort towards goals that I valued highly, that have been communicated to me. They are high value goals. And that's the ranking system, right? In any multi-level marketing company, or even in a religious organization or cult atmosphere like Scientology, you've got tiers, you've got something you're working toward. There is this ideology communicated and indoctrinated amongst people that's like, I got to get there. That's where I'll have the best quality of life. That's where I'll be the most open to, new experiences. That's where I'll just be transcendent. transcendent. And in MLMs, that's where I'll be successful, have the freedom of time, have the freedom of money, have the freedom to be with my family while residual income just flows into my bank account. And it's an illusion. It's an illusion. That's where cognitive dissonance begins to
Illusions.
yeah, it begins to definitely play a part, because if you continue to ignore that cognitive dissonance, you're going to sink deeper, deeper, deeper into an echo chamber and put high effort against those high value goals. And for what? We know mathematically, statistically, and in reality, outside of that bubble of MLM, there is no real money. There is no financial freedom or time freedom.
Yeah, they can say all day, we're going to pay out millions of dollars in bonuses next year. Who was it that said that? And the only question is, whose name is going to be on the check? Well, you know what? That's not really in question, because the people whose names are going to be on that big of a check have been in the company since it started.
Right.
They know whose name is on that check, and it is not yours, I promise. And yeah, the effort-based cognitive dissonance kind of blew my mind because it is so relevant. The first thing that you're told when you join an MLM is that if you work hard, you'll be successful.
Yeah, definitely.
So everything, every failure, every small paycheck that you get, every red flag that should be an indicator that this is a scam comes back to you as a signal saying that you're not working hard enough, because you've been taught that if you work hard enough, you'll make money. So if you're not making money, you're not working hard enough.
Oh, and then those justifications come in. I know that we can cite different examples here, and that'll be the fun part of our conversation to link it tangibly back to, okay, I know I went live on video and said this. I know I was at an event and talked to some friends or leads that I wanted to maybe join my team, or I was hoping they'd buy my products. And I can remember where I'm justifying and rationalizing for myself. But I had done a reaction video with our friend Mallory on her channel on YouTube, The Shakedown, and you can see me working it out. It is live on video as I am talking about how multi-level marketing companies are not pyramid schemes. And I'm going way deep into they're not, and here's the reasons. But you can see me like live working it out, like literally the gears turning in my brain, and it's like, I am almost there. I'm almost there. It's pretty wild.
I'm with you. So I started my anti-MLM journey by doing a profit and loss analysis.
Yes.
And then quitting because I realized that I had lost $5,000 or whatever. And one thing that I have not really been able to bring myself to do in the past 7 months yet until very recently is go back through and look at the things that I used to post when I was in MLM, because I just knew I would, like, the cringe would be bigger than my face. And once I started, I'm slowly working my way through, right? I have gotten through my Red Aspen lives. You know, I was in that company for a very short amount of time. I had a VIP group with no one in it. So I was basically just talking to myself and my upline. And it's so awkward and horrible to watch, because I said in my very first MLM video years ago that I was anti-MLM.
Yes,
but this is a great company.
Yes, it's the company that's different. The grass is so much greener with this company. It's totally rebuking, and it's a disruptor amongst MLMs, right? Yeah, there's that rationale.
Oh my gosh.
Incredible.
And yeah, it's been hard to get through. And I've seen a couple from the past year and a half and when I was in Beachbody that probably deserve a reaction video or something. Not even a reaction video, just like a breakdown, kind of like how I showed those 2 videos in part 1 of the cognitive dissonance piece of this series, and it was so hard to watch. So could you like kind of see in my live that I did where I was announcing my brand new business, like how not excited I was about it?
I do.
I was like, you guys, so I started this thing. You're all gonna hate me. Because I knew.
Right. Incredible. No, you can absolutely see. By the way, when you said that was your first time ever on live, though, you were so natural and effortless about it. You didn't stutter once. I mean, I was impressed with that, Michelle.
Thanks. I'm a natural.
I loved your honesty on the tea. Were you legit tasting that tea for the first time?
Yeah. Why did I do that? Why did I do that live? It was a gimmick, you know?
I'm dying.
I planned to really like it.
I've seen
it was so bad.
Of course, but we've seen that before, and it's like I remember one time last year I was watching a Prove It rep live on video reveal and unbox the meals, the new meals. There should be like the real food meal plans.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you tear back the cellophane and it's
just a meal kit. It's everything, right? It's like a TV dinner.
It was mind-blowing to watch because, it took everything in her not to probably spit out that bite she took or literally.
It looked disgusting.
So honest.
I think I know the one you're talking about. That was hard to watch because you could tell that she knew it wasn't looking as good as she thought it was going to when she took it out of the package, and she was obviously doing it live.
I want to look at stuff like that because those little microscopic moments where cognitive dissonance, and even if anyone's watching who never has been in a multi-level marketing company or probably never will join one, but wants to apply it to their real life as well, like, do I have cognitive dissonance in any one area or whatever? But it's like, because I saw a TikTok the other day about a man who worked on Wall Street, and he ended up going to prison. So he's kind of taking people through like how I got charged with crimes and went to federal prison. And it started with one single solitary, if I just sign up 2 people, they to get a bonus, they needed to sign up 10 customers, let's say. It's not a recruiting scam. He's a financial trader, but he went to his boss and sat down and was super bummed because he'd put in all the effort and had that high value goal and he wanted that 10 grand. And this is a legit sales job and all the things with commissions, but the bonus was out there and he's missing it by that hair. He needs 2 more people. And his manager said to him, well, if I were you, I'd go and get a couple money orders across the street at the Western Union or what have you, come back and offer it as a gift to 2 of the people that were on the fence. Two investors that have been on the fence but didn't want to pony up the $350 or whatever, $350 for the trades or the trade benefits or whatever. So he did. And he goes, that's the day that my integrity rationalized. I'm like, my intuition was firing, but my boss is signing off on it and suggesting this tactic. And so I went ahead. He's like, and then, compound effect. Years later, the cheats get bigger, the circumferencing gets bigger. And meanwhile, cognitive dissonance is firing, right? It's like, we know this is wrong. We know this isn't sustainable in our career, in our life.
Justify it though.
Right. And if those little tiny things then start to build, and now there's an entire $10,000 investment being skirted around to get the 100 grand bonus. I mean, right? So in MLMs, I know that the industry, and I know we've talked about this as well, reacting to people's behaviors, reacting to our own videos is so illuminating because we're seeing that behavior and those tactics happening in that real time on film, and our belief with it, or our battling that cognitive dissonance that out the side door, like, get out of here. Like, I'm trying to run a business. I'm trying to be successful like my upline. And I'm told that this is the way to do it. So we're fighting off any of the red flags of that intuition that's saying this is wrong, or cognitive, maybe look at this harder, maybe critically think about this. Those little microscopic moments where, we sign up Kitty Carpenter. Meow. We sign up a customer.
Satsuki. Her name is Satsuki.
Just that 1 month, just that 1 month, just to get closer to where. And I think this is how that industry, MLMs, begin to wear down and erode anyone's values, morals, and integrity and intent and intuition. Because if you do continue down that path, and now you are making 20 grand a month, let's just say you're part of that ranking system, you've gotten up there and that's your monthly takeaway or more. Wow, that's a trap. Now you're trapped, and it's going to take more. Those little cheats and those little workarounds are going to build. Where's that integrity you started with? Where is looking your friends or family in the eyes and saying, I'm a business owner, I'm a CEO of my own life, I get to make the rules, and I'm part of this network marketing company? Because, man, now you're really in it, and you are. So I feel like MLMs either attract people that are kind of already willing to go that route and ignore cognitive dissonance. Maybe even it's just like, it's just not even a part. They just don't even hear it. They don't see it. They don't feel it.
Yeah.
Or you just get so far down that path that now you're duplicitous. You're in a duplicitous existence. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's so wild how big the spectrum is of self-awareness of your own cognitive dissonance, because, you know, I knew that I was experiencing cognitive dissonance for the majority of the time that I was in Beachbody. I was aware, and instead of resolving it by leaving the company, I attempted to resolve it by running my business differently, which is what you tried to do, right? With your business.
Yes.
And so at some point, if anyone is out there saying, I can do this differently, you're already seeing the red flags.
Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
otherwise, why would you need to do it differently? Why wouldn't you just do what your upline tells you to do if it's so moral, if it's so ethical? Why do you need to do it differently? If they're successful and they're giving you their tips and tricks on how to make it work, why do you need to tweak that system? Because you know that what they're asking you to do goes against your personal values. And I think that it is an invaluable tool to be able to look back on our own videos, because we know the way our brains think and nobody else does. And so I think that there's so much insight to be gained there, especially when talking about red flags, cognitive dissonance, manipulation, grooming, anything in this like kind of gray area where MLM meets cult.
Yeah.
Right. And Dr. Hassan speaks a lot about this. So that's why I highly recommend just going to his website, freedomofmind.com. But have you seen the panel that I was on last weekend? Did you get a chance to watch that?
I need to check the links. The MLM conference looks like it was phenomenal from the clips I've seen, and I can't wait. I will see the recordings as soon as they're up, or maybe they are. I need to check.
I don't think they're up yet, but I just didn't know if you were able to make it on Saturday. But anyway, you're gonna love the creators panel, and I kind of wanted to ask you a couple of the questions that they asked us as panelists, because you're a content creator in this space too. They only had 6 of us up there, so let me find those. If you have any other tangents to go on, I don't even have them up yet. So.
Yeah, here's one thing. Pull those up. That'll be great. And we can maybe wrap it up with those questions. That'd be awesome, Michelle, because as you were talking, I thought of something I'll share with you. So the other day, somebody liked a comment I left on Bob Heilig. He's a coach, a network marketing coach. And I know I've talked about him a lot to you and some other creators who have come across his page, because at the end of the day, I really was so attracted to Bob Heilig's methods of teaching and being a leader, cultivating leadership, but it is in network marketing. And when I was in MLM and I had all that belief that I could do the business differently, as you mentioned, I'm not going to be spammy. I'm never going to, just sign people up for signing them up if it's not good for them, helping them truly something they feel would be great, And that's his whole method, is like, we're doing network marketing different. And his tagline has always been, it's not network marketing that's the problem, it's network marketers, that individual that has shady behavior or would do scammy things or doesn't have
the opposite of the truth.
Exactly. And now that I'm out, I'm just like, So literally almost a year ago, 48 weeks ago, I had commented this literal
novel
on one of his videos, because it must have just spoke to me so much. He was referencing haters and referencing anti-MLM being hating, and why not, all of that. mumbo jumbo. And kudos to Bob because he's left that comment up and he doesn't really filter or like gatekeep comments, which is a bonus. Then here comes somebody 48 weeks later and she likes my comment or even says, I'm so glad you commented this. Let me read it to you. I said, educating isn't hating. I used to be an avid follower, Bob, and I think you're an amazing person with great intentions. But good intentions, incredible work ethics, and integrity of titanium for MLMers wanting to do this differently can't change the reality. MLMs are a pyramid income structure. That doesn't mean illegal, obviously, but it means statistically and mathematically there is lost time, lost money, energy, mental wellness for 97% of reps. That statistic is a rough estimate, but you know what I mean. Women sharing perspective and facts are not always bullies with ill intent or hate on their heart. Many in anti-MLM want to share information that was either severely gatekept from them while they were inside or otherwise just made unavailable. For instance, like those statistics or, truly analyzing comp plans and income disclosures. MLMs, I have witnessed cheating, rank buying, dangerous misinformation, gaslighting, and a lot of toxic behavior and strategies. And I know if members of Leadership Academy, which is his program, have seen that as well, they are experiencing cognitive dissonance. I love your teachings, but with respect, I feel like it's fighting against an industry that demands eventual erosion of one's personally dear morals and ethics to succeed, rank, or earn. So, isn't that the truth? Yeah. And now he keeps morphing. For instance, he's just one example out there in a whole coaches who coach coaches to coach coaches who network market. It's just now he's morphed his thing into let's not be transactional in our relationships. Let's be transformative and transcendental. And it's like you can put all the words and lovely little language on it you want. The industry is built the way it is. And even though there is incredibly toxic and I think harmful leaders that get to a point in their leadership, as I mentioned before, it's either because the industry has worked on them and now they're earning money and in that kind of trap, or they might not have been well intended in the first place. They were on the take and on the grift and saw the opportunity and went with it. But either way, I don't know if I find a lot of value in exposing the one person who's a problematic person anymore. It's truly the industry. It's how it's structured, and it's cognitive dissonance will show itself on the journey, I feel, for most people in MLMs. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And one thing that sticks out to me from what you said, that Bob Helig's kind of direction that he's going in now with his coaching. Yes. And, they all follow the same trends. They see what other coaches who coach coaches to coach coaches are doing and what's working for them. And they do that. Yep. And that's what they coach their people to do, whatever.
Yes.
But so First question, did you ever hire a business coach when you were in?
I didn't, because I was always running that profit and loss in my mind. I bought the books. I listened to podcasts. I would listen to books on Audible, tape, Kindle, whatever you want to say.
I still say books on tape, and I only listen to audio. I don't even read with my eyes anymore. It's ridiculous.
It was never been tape. It was always CDs or something. But yeah, you know what I mean. I would invest in that. I was part of a free, I would always jump into the free ones, the free 10 weeks with somebody or the free, but I didn't ever.
5-day workshop.
But that truly is, even though the MLM isn't profiting from that, the industry at large is still speaking into vulnerable people to say you could be better and your belief could be higher and your work ethic could be stronger and you can have these tactics of integrity, of serving people, of loving on people with this.
And isn't it crazy how they have never met you, but they know that you're not working hard enough because you're complaining?
Right.
Okay. So one thing that kind of stuck out to me though is you said he's kind of calling out transactional relationships as a bad thing, right? Supposedly. Yeah. Even though we all know that anyone who interacts with Bob Helig at all is probably a transactional relationship for him.
Right. Exactly.
Sorry, not sorry. Allegedly, in my opinion, in my experience, I'll put all the disclaimers up, whatever.
All these social media platforms are transactional now. I mean, they really are.
It's true.
It's
But
just how ethically you're going to go about it.
using keywords like that, I think they watch a lot of our content, first of all, because they will shift their business strategies to combat the specific manipulation tactics that we happen to be calling out at the time. I feel that way. I don't know if that's backed by data or anything like that, but I feel that that's the case. But I think that it's important to note when companies or leaders or coaches or anyone in any kind of position of power actually kind of starts their pitch, or in the beginning of your relationship brings up things like transactional relationships or cold messaging, pyramid schemes, all these things that are actually issues within MLM or whatever situation you're in, because this applies to everything. And they do that to desensitize you from it, to let you know right away.
Right.
So I listened to Sarah Edmondson's book Scarred about her experience in NXIVM. So it's basically just like the story from the Vow documentary, but from her perspective. And it is so good. She narrated the audiobook herself too, which is an extra special cherry on top. I love it when they do that.
Yes.
And one of the first things that Keith in NXIVM taught the group was how to identify a sociopath. What does a narcissist look like?
Okay.
And he basically just described himself. But because it was coming from him, the trick, the mind trick, the game he was playing, which later we find out that really it is all just a game to him.
Yes.
And the game that he's playing is like, it's almost like a challenge. Like if I'm telling you what a sociopath is, I couldn't possibly be one. And if you challenge me on that, I can just say, I've been upfront the whole time. This is what a sociopath is. I taught you that.
Yes.
So it's almost like
let me go ahead.
It's almost like a twisting of information control. It's not keeping you away from learning what a sociopath is. You're taking your first experience listening to what is a sociopath, learning about sociopathy. It's taking that from the outside and bringing it to a completely different perspective. If it's coming from this leader, if it's coming from the organization, then I mean, certainly you're not going to need to go do outside research on that. If you do, you're going to find that they actually used correct information, cited correct sources, but just kind of twisted it all. It's so manipulative. Oh my God.
Wow, that is incredible. That's kind of incredible. It's almost like, the pastor that stands in front at the pulpit and goes, if I'm such a bad person, then everybody just get up and walk out right now. Well, who's going to be the
challenge?
And now like the whole, wow, that is incredible. I'll go ahead and expose myself here. But then you tell me if I'm still not bringing you value enough to keep you. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It blows my mind how much genius, but also how little. I mean, sociopathy is a much wider spread. I don't know if it's a personality disorder. I don't know the right way to refer to it, but sociopathy is so much more widespread than we think it is. One in, I believe, 25 people are sociopaths.
Mm-hmm.
You know a few.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't know that they are, right?
Yeah.
It's so crazy. So I highly recommend reading if you haven't, and it's also on audiobook, The Sociopath Next Door, because it will just change the way that you look at everyone you meet. It's crazy.
I think that's great. I think everything since 2020 has shifted so much for me personally. So I think that these conversations we're having right now and references to books like that to raise my level of awareness, have a healthy dose of cautiousness and skepticism and protection for myself and my family is good. It's good.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I think that you'll really, really like one of these questions that came up on our panel.
Okay.
So Let me know. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Let's do them in order. Okay. So the first question that they asked was, and I'm really putting you on the spot because I had days to prepare my answers. Is anti-MLM content entertainment, education, advocacy, or activism?
Oh, wow. Wow. I really feel that some of that can blend together. It depends on the content. It depends on the presenter or the creator. And I feel like it can also be siloed off on its own. Is that fair? I mean, I can't wait to hear maybe more about what the panel and the conversation, the dialogue, led to. But
I kind of like that you haven't heard the other answers.
I have no way of knowing what anyone else might have said. But personally, I like to entertain people. That's just a inclination I have. So I follow that impulse. And for right, wrong, or otherwise, and I have my self-doubt, and I might even have those moments creep up where I'm just like, is that mean? Am I being mean? Am I targeting one specific person? Or is a parody okay? Is a parody with a wide-brimmed hat and a little vocal fry, is it okay to do that? And just to then present an example of the kind of language you'll hear that is already in conflict with itself. Make residual income with this amazing opportunity, but also
it's so important to have entertainment, because otherwise how is anyone going to be exposed, right?
Right. So I'll do so parodies and song and dance and little caricatures of exaggerated. So I feel that that's still anti-MLM, because it might be the way that someone can absorb and be interested in and engaged in and really watch because it's funny or comical or light, or they know somebody. Like, it's like watching SNL. Oh my gosh, it's just like my third grade teacher. They do that character so well. Well, so, oh my gosh, it's just like my old upline. She's doing that character so well. And you know what? They do double speak a lot like that, or they do, say that there's time freedom, but then once you're over there, you're working 60 hours a week for 40 cents an hour. Like, it's just so that it can still educate someone through entertaining them. So there's a blend. Sometimes it's just straight entertainment, like, let me just go for the laugh, because maybe that'll like draw more people in, and then I'll hit them with some facts later, and maybe that's not as engaging content for that particular person, their sensibilities, but they might still hear the information and recognize, oh, my mom's in an MLM. This is so devastating. How do I tell her about this? And but advocacy and activism, I think content can absolutely be that as well. Mm-hmm. So
thank you. That was awesome. That was a great answer. And I think you might have been under the 3 minutes that I had to answer. Maybe not.
Oh, wow. A time crunch. Yeah.
Very short. So I eventually am going to get the video of the panel that I was on, at the very least, from MLMconference.com once it's posted, which I don't think it is yet. I'm going to see what kind of permission I have to go ahead and just share it or stream it or live react with friends or something.
Yeah, even sound bites. I bet there's some amazing sound.
Everyone was so good. So for reference, for YouTube, the people on this panel, oh my gosh, I was so honored and just humbled to be included, with names like Savvy Writes Books, Taylor the Antibot, Monica Hayworth was on there, Dave Vaughn, Elaine Linga, and we know Elaine from Invested Lifestyle, and she covers MLMs in the Philippines and pyramid schemes and scams and financial literacy and so many cool things in multiple languages on her channel, which is so great. And she contributed a whole lot to the MLMchange.org during our big push for FTC comments. So big shout out to Elaine and everyone else on that panel. It was amazing. Are you ready for question number 2?
Yes.
Yeah. So what are the pros and cons? Oh, this is perfect. You were just talking about this.
Okay.
What are the pros and cons to critiquing individual behavior on social media versus company deep dives?
Yeah, I feel like the pro in playing back the tape of a top leader, top recruiter, top 1 or 2% of companies' tactics their verbiage, their inflections in their voice, even just static images from their Facebook in a caption or written text infographics they share. I think that's highly valuable for me personally, if it's always going to point back to, this is why the industry is such an issue. This is why deceptive marketing, deceptive income claims, deceptive and manipulative and untrue, unsubstantiated health claims are a huge problem, because the industry itself isn't keeping the leaders accountable, keeping the thousands of reps' voices out there, marketing, selling, trying to funnel clients, new business, and recruits to the commercial cults, MLMs. They just aren't being
regulated. They're not being regulated.
They aren't in compliance with their own written agreements most times. And but also it lends itself back to it's just a profiteering operation. So as long as the money's rolling in, they turn a blind eye to what the individuals are doing and how they're behaving. So it really is cyclical. And the cons of profiling individual people can be tricky, because there's definite cons. We can start to fixate on one person because, well, some of that sociopathy might be showing, or you really feel like this individual is harmful, whether they're with an MLM or not. The rhetoric on their social media strikes me as dangerous. It can inflict some mental or emotional harm on someone. And you know what? That's where I just say they're going to exist. They're going to be on their social media, and freedom of speech is a reality. And I feel like that's not anti-MLM at that point.
Yeah. And I love that. And it made my brain go, oh, I have something to say, and then erase it, but I'll try and remember it. So I think that even with that specific of a scenario, like talking about one specific top leader who is over and over and over again using the same manipulation tactics, obviously that's important to expose so that people don't fall for those in the future, especially from that one person. Yes. And I agree that a lot of creators can start to kind of fixate on a single individual, when in reality, like, they're also getting these tactics from somewhere. Right. Mm-hmm. And there's always more, but I do think that there's value in it. It just requires so much nuance.
Yes, you're so right. I mean, the stylizing of how it's presented as well, whether we're blurring out a face, does the person have 200,000 followers, 1 million followers on TikTok, and they're schlepping MLM products and recruiting and having Zoom calls for opportunities? Like, clearly it's like this has the potential to wreak a lot of havoc on a lot of people's lives. And one of the cognitive dissonance argumentative points I used to make is, we're grown adults, we're grown ass people. Like, I can watch a TikTok and decide for myself if I want to attend a Zoom call with, Scott Henry, who's selling Prove It or whatever. But at the same time, he's part and parcel to an industry that is in effect problematic. And so I feel like, I think we've covered it, but the pros and cons are there. The cons can be, am I still talking about MLMs, the businesses, the brands themselves, the direct selling association that just allows this kind of behavior to thrive and be relevant? Or is anybody checking and protecting the thousands, the 98% of reps that are making 0 to 40 cents on an hour of work, or worse, losing money every day, losing money every day to the scheme? That's where it kind of comes back to, for me anyway.
Yeah, well, it easily leads into the next question that they had on our panel. So keep in mind, the context for this panel was how can content creators be more effective consumer activists?
Yeah.
In the context. And the question was, what type of content needs more attention from creators in order to create more effective consumer activists, or to be more effective consumer activists?
Oh, wow. Now, when you say consumer, is any representative or 1099 consultant the consumer?
Because I think when we talk about consumer protection, we are talking about anyone who is a potential.
Yeah. truly.
honestly.
Listen, yeah, that, you know, employee advocacy, employee protection, even contractor and independent 1099 protection, like the deceptive incomes claim rule, it's still a consumer issue because of the investment one would have to make to drive the car for Instacart, to be part of the Instacart schematic, that whole thing over there, or to be a 1099 employee. You're paying, you're buying in. There's still you got to pony up some cash typically, even if you join.
And even true, just like true straight up consumers, I'm not going to buy a kit. I just want your highlighter, and it happens to be from an MLM. Even those people are in this category to me, even potential people, like someone who's never even purchased anything from an MLM and is just scrolling on TikTok and doesn't realize that what they're being pitched on TikTok is an MLM. Even if they just purchase the item, they're going on someone's list. Yeah, they are on the follow-up list now.
So the question is, what kind of content can best help or aid in the consumer advocacy category?
Yeah.
That's a great question, because it might.
I don't know what kind of content do you think YouTube or TikTok or Instagram or podcast creators can really focus in on to kind of be better activists and not just spread awareness. Does that make sense?
It does. Maybe
not that spreading awareness is little, it's huge.
This is kind of granular, but I'm thinking about when you're saying the platforms. For instance, if I see an Instagram reel and someone is putting on makeup, they're showing contour and highlight, but there isn't a hashtag name of the company in the caption. It's DM me for the details. That kind of stuff, calling out those examples, where I think we all really kind of tend to focus more on the join me, the opportunity, roping people into that base level of the pyramid as reps, as consultants, where truly we know most true customers that aren't joining as a rep, they're not going to be part of the business, but they just want to support their friend. That is kind of the emotional connection. I'm supporting my friend. I'm supporting my daughter-in-law. Let me just get this quick order in and help her feel like she's, so I don't know. I'm so focused on MLMs that are personal care products, kitchens and homewares. I know there's financial services, there's insurance, there is
there's a whole world that we haven't even dipped our toe into.
Right. Because that's scary as well. So take family life insurance, for instance. Yeah. What kind of content can really speak to the fact that if someone comes knocking on your door with their little briefcase, or even virtually, they're in your email with their little briefcase full of products, is it an MLM insurance company, or is it a truly backed, certified, licensed, bonded insurance company? I mean, those
so educational, get people's minds thinking, maybe link to resources, put out links. Oh my gosh, just fill your link tree with resources on financial literacy and how to spot a scam.
But that goes back to that original question about is entertainment, advocacy, activism, or education. That kind of goes back to that, because you know what, I'd love to see bite-size, very palatable, very easily shared, content that might even entertain a little bit about that niche of MLMs, financial services, travel, global travel, pyramid schemes. Besides cosmetics and the personal care and the little box of goodies that you get when you start the program, it's more of I'm selling somebody life and dismemberment policies, but I'm in an MLM pyramid scheme. So wrong, so gross. But where is a little digestible content about that? And maybe they exist and I'm in a certain algorithm, but that's a great question. I like it.
Yeah. Oh, I love your answer too. That's awesome. Yeah. The last one, I don't know. I don't know if you'll feel like it applies to you, but we all had to come up with answers, so you do too.
Okay.
I'm curious to see what you'll make of this one, not having seen ours.
Okay.
So the question is, what goals, past or present, do you have for your advocacy work? Or do you have any? Or have you had any?
Great question. And I feel kind of probably how sometimes I think my approach to this content creation and my approach to my involvement in anti-MLM, the movement, the genre, even the community, is following my impulses a little bit. You and I have talked a lot about impulse in our lives. And, you know, and let me just say, it's very similar to how I approached MLM in a way. I struggle with having my own self-discipline and setting forth those goals for myself, personal goals. Let me create 5 pieces of content this week. Let me sit down and focus on this angle in terms of manipulative strategies from MLMs. Like, I would like to get to that point. I feel YouTube creators definitely have that. They're probably very successful when they have a map of what they're going to create, what their next subject is, schedule the interview with the person, you know, and it's like,
oh, that's my dream. It's my dream to have a system like that. And I know they're out there. And I think even there's some anti-MLM creator who I think maybe even created a template for like YouTube content creation, planning and stuff like that.
That's brilliant.
I want to say Isabella, and if that's not true, then I'll just cut this part out of the video. So we'll find out later. But
amazing.
I would love to be at that point. Oh my gosh, but I never will be, because the fact of the matter is I cover what I'm passionate about in any given moment, and that can change 5 times in one day. I can't plan something for a week from now. I can't do it because I'm just gonna have to do it right now.
Exactly. You know what? And we have lives that we're balancing, and kids and the jobs and all the things, pets and everything, and moods and emotional bandwidth and all of that. So I appreciate that that's okay. For now, I feel like the organization of it, the discipline may come along. And in any case, I would love to keep going, and I would love to continue doing what I'm doing, which is having fun with it, feeling like I am connecting with people. I get many DMs and people feeling invited and comfortable and welcomed to private message me or respond to a story, to a TikTok. And I'm loving that, the conversations that go on. And I'll tell you something, there's people that have gone and done anti-MLM content, and maybe one video went a little viral, 10,000, 1 million views, doesn't matter. But that was just them telling their story, and then they kind of moved on. But I'm telling you, I remember their story. I remember Heather Rainbow, I think her was your username, on TikTok. She was blowing up in anti-MLM, and she doesn't so much focus on it anymore. And that's okay. Her content is evergreen. It's out there. It's still in an algorithm somewhere for somebody, and it's still in the hashtags. And she had powerful, well-articulated standpoints. And I was inspired by her. And I think that's okay. That's cool too. Whoever can lend their time and their energy towards it, and in a way that's going to be engaging and educational, or impact someone in some way that they see where cognitive dissonance is playing a part. They see where their self-awareness is very low, and it's being trumped by groupthink and by someone else's nefarious goals for themselves, right? I think that's important.
It's so important. And I think it's perfectly fine to not have personal goals. Like it's not your business. You don't have an upline here, right? So if your goal is to make content, that's a legitimate goal.
Right? There's so much available for anyone who wants to be seen or heard in anti-MLM. So I hope it remains a platform, a whole umbrella of content education, conferences, real life meetups, think tanks, besides just being on social media. Because back to our point, I'm not a social media manager. That's never been my strong suit. That is a whole nother level of, organization and mapping out your content, your time lent to the content, all that. So I hope that between all the different corners of the world and all the different corners of the internet where anti-MLM exists, I really truly hope it remains a place where if someone can give a couple weeks to it and a few powerful videos telling their personal experience in an MLM, or whether it's someone who's a 10-year-long advocate and they've truly helped formulate where it's going, where the movement's going, impacting rules with the FTC, having that power too. I'm here for all of it. I don't know.
I love it.
I'm here for all of it.
Is there anything else that you want to say about cognitive dissonance?
Oh my gosh. I just thank you for your video. I truly think that your series on these things in the bite model, these explorations deeper into bite model, deeper into the tactics used by MLMs, it's going to be great, Michelle. So I appreciate you having me on. And
thank you.
Yes, this was fun.
Thank you so much for coming on. I love talking to you, obviously, anyway. And we could chat for hours, but I won't make you do that. You've got a day off. So do you have baseball games or swimming pools or all kinds of things you have to do today?
Yeah, I know we're both Midwest. It's finally summer, like full tilt, full send summer. And my one teenager works at the pool, so he's outside every day. I'm more of a let's maybe hang out in the evenings, have a little dinner outside or something. But no, the rest of the day, I got a pedicure today, a little self-care, little treat for myself on a day off. But this has been a treat too. I love you. And
I love you too. Thank you so much for coming on. I will talk to you in the group chat.
Bye, girl. Thank you.
See you in a minute.
Okay, bye. Talk to you later. Bye.
Hey, I just wanted to say thanks again so much for coming and supporting my channel. I have had a lot of fun coming up with the idea for this series, and I really look forward to getting to more manipulation tactics and cult behaviors and breaking down the influence continuum. And there are so many things that I'm excited to cover in this series, this boom series. So thank you all for coming back and watching part 2. Please subscribe and ring the bell to be notified when I come up with new updates. I admit I am not on a fixed schedule for updating, but yeah, if there are any specific topics, themes, words, terms, anything in the kind of cult tactic, bite model, undue influence realm that you folks specifically want to see a deep dive on and a conversation like this to follow it up, please let me know in the comments or reach out to me at Mich, M-I-C-H, at spoonstop.com with any ideas or suggestions. Thanks again for watching. Bye. Oh my God. I don't even know what I'm doing.